We have just over a week until mercifully the 2025 NFL draft is upon us, putting the endless slog of mock draft fatigue to an end. We can't possibly hear anything else that'll tickle the ears and fancies of football fans in Foxborough, can we? Au contraire, my football frere, because Max Chadwick and his treasure troves of college football knowledge are going to drop a couple of gems and diamonds in the football rough on us here. Don't take it from the schmoes. That's why we bring in the pros here on Six Rings. Let's go.
Hey, whatever it takes, man. It's all about winning, all right? Winning on three. 1, 2, 3, win!
Celebrating the heroes of Foxborough's past.
And with a good block. Look at Roman. All the way. Watch the block of number 73, John Hanna.
The champions of the dynastic era.
Adam Vinatieri moves a 48-yard field goal, and the Patriots are Super Bowl champions.
The Patriots of tomorrow.
We're going to remove entitlement from our football team. We're going to earn the right to be here every single day.
And the fans whose faith never wavers. This is Six Rings and Football Things.
Well, that is an awful lot of dramatic introduction for a team that has gone 4-13 2 years in a row. But how can you not get hyped because draft season is almost upon us? What's up, everybody? Your old pal Nick Fitzy Stevens here with someone who was kind or crazy enough to actually join us for a second time from Pro Football Focus. We are pleased to be joined by the one and only Mr. Max Chadwick back in the house. You coming to us from the Natty once again, Max?
I am, Fitzy. Yeah, I appreciate you having me on again, man. I remember last year when I went on, I believe right before last year's draft, and
yes,
we were talking about the quarterbacks in that class, and I remember telling you, I said, yeah, I think Drake May would be an awesome fit if he fell to number 3 overall. He did fall to number 3. They took him there. They seem to have nailed that pick. So hopefully we'll see if the Patriots can nail another top 5 pick this year.
I mean, that's the whole thing, is that we've just been like constantly going over what the Patriots can get at 4, because we never wanted to be resigned to the 4th overall pick, because quite honestly, the Patriots were the worst team in football last year until the swan song gift of the coach and now backup quarterback that are no longer with us came in the form of an early January win that should have been a loss. They were given the mission. They failed spectacularly, but that was really true for the last 2 years overall. So now the Patriots have to pick 4th overall. Last year, the draft class, though Elliot Wolf believes that the jury is still out on a lot of the selections, most people think it was a very subpar draft, save for the fact that you landed your franchise quarterback, who they kind of stumbled into, or just he fell into their lap at number 3 overall in Drake May. You were high on him. Your assessment was very accurate, to say the least. Before we get into who's available now, considering who else they took last year, Max, we have Jalen Polk, who, of course, this is my perfunctory podcast mention, that he was selected instead of Lad McConkey, which is a sin that I will never forgive Elliot Wolf for, you son of a bitch. You had Layden Robinson, Caden Wallace, Javon Baker, Marcellus Weil. Not a dynamic. Is there anyone there that you think maybe Mike Vrabel, Josh McDaniels could possibly shake something out of this year? Or last year when you saw that draft, were you like, what the hell are you guys doing?
Yeah, I outside of the Drake May pick, which I thought was an A+ home run pick, but then again, like I said, like you said, it wasn't really that difficult of a pick to make either at number 3 overall with him falling there. So outside of that, I thought it was a pretty underwhelming draft, and you saw it in the rookie year, right? Jalen Polk was massively disappointing in his rookie year. Caden Wallace, I thought, was a serious reach in the 3rd round, and he didn't really do that hot either. Javon Baker, I did like that pick, but he didn't really do much in his rookie year.
Yes.
It's only 1 catch. So it's like, it's not great. I liked the Jaheim Bell, 7th round flyer, but if one of my favorite picks of your draft is a 7th round flyer, then that's probably not a great draft overall. So yeah, I thought it was a pretty not great draft last year outside of the number 3 overall pick, which, listen, if you nail your franchise quarterback and get a franchise quarterback in a draft, it's going to make everything else look great. But outside of that 1 pick, it wasn't really a great draft for the Patriots now.
No, I like the Layden Robinson pick early in the 4th round, because people described him as a guy that plays with a mean, nasty streak, very violent with his hands, which is great. And he ended up looking pretty good when they shifted him to left guard later in the year. So jury's still out on him. everybody in the world, including a former radio host at our station who was friends with Penn State offensive line coaches, said, holy smokes, is this Wallace kid a reach? He's just going to be way above his depths. It's going to be trouble. Like I said, the aforementioned McConkey sin, Jalen Polk. Many have said that with a lot of hard work and effort, maybe he'll turn into a decent number 3 in time. I mean, they just, for a team that so sorely lacked blue chip talent, they got one. Obviously, they got the ultimate blue chip talent, and then in Drake May, and then nothing else. And yeah, Jaheim Bell, great flyer in the 7th round, but like if you're throwing those kind of like blind drunken darts late at night, hoping that something sticks, there's a good chance you need to go back and reevaluate your entire draft process. And that is what makes me wonder. Will the Patriots look to improve the tight end room? And is this a good draft to improve the tight end room if they think Jaheim Bell is not mature enough? Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper are both excellent pros, but they're and dependable, but they're 31 each. And the wide receiver room is UFL-ish at best. And this has not been described as a great wide receiver draft, Max, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it's really not. I would say the first few I really like in this draft. And then after that, there seems to be a pretty big drop. But there's still some nice pieces afterwards that you can get on day 2 of the draft. But like those are guys who are probably more in the, Jalen Polk kind of range or where he was last year, at least not where he is right now. But yeah, there's like the star power at wide receiver is not great. Now, of course, Patriots have the number 4 overall pick. They're going to have their pick of pretty much any wide receiver they want at number 4 overall. Maybe outside of Travis Hunter, who might go before that. But other than that, there's not too many great guys there. But in this kind of draft for the Patriots, now that you kind of whiffed on almost every other pick when you were trying to surround Drake May, it seemed like they're trying to surround Drake May with as much talent as possible, selecting a lot of wide receivers and offensive linemen last year. None of those really panned out. So now you go into this draft once again, 2 of your biggest needs being offensive line and wide receiver because you whiffed on so many picks last year.
Yeah, my co-host yesterday on the WEEI afternoon show, she filled in, and she's also a co-host here on Six Rings, Megan Ottolini, said, one of the narratives has been we keep burying the Patriots for being so god-awful at drafting and develop wide receivers over the past 2 decades. They're like the reverse Steelers. She said, but don't sleep on the fact that they've been sneaky terrible at drafting and developing offensive linemen the last 10 years. The only good one that's been homegrown in the last decade was Joe Thuney. And now he's on his third team overall and is a distant memory of Foxborough past. Like that's troubling. And so when you are gifted the 4th overall pick and you have so many glaring needs at important offensive positions, Max, you have to nail it. So let's get right to it. First question here as we record the latest Six Rings and Football Things podcast and also stream on YouTube and Facebook. Jeff Stenberg, regular viewer. With the Giants working out Shedeur again, that news came out this morning. Todd McShay said, don't just bury the Shedeur to the Giants' dream yet. Does it give you hope that the Patriots could get Abdul Carter? What's your top 5 or what's like the Max Chadwick micro big board, and where does Abdul Carter fall on that?
Yeah, I would say he's probably where did I have my big board? But he's definitely like a top 2 or 3 player in the NFL draft right now. I believe I'm 3rd behind Travis Hunter and Ashton Jeanty, and I would take Carter above Ashton Jeanty. Just this is basically just saying how good of a football player he is. But yeah, Carter is absolutely, he would be a slam dunk pick for the Patriots number 4 overall. I know it doesn't really help out Drake May that much, but we actually at PFF pretty soon are going to be rolling out team specific top 100 big boards for every single team in the NFL. And Trevor Sycamore, lead draft analyst for the Patriots, looking at it right now, he has Abdul Carter as the number 1 overall player for the Patriots. On the
Sycamore does, really?
Yeah, he does. Yeah. So I don't know if I would agree with that. I'd probably put Travis Hunter number 1 because I think Travis Hunter is just that good of a football player. He could help out wide receiver and at corner too. But I think either of those 2 players are probably who New England is hoping for at number 4 overall to fall to them. So hopefully they're probably hoping that, the Browns and the Giants, one of them takes a quarterback is probably what they're hoping for right now. Yep. Because if they don't, then probably the Browns and the Giants both would take, Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter in some order.
Yeah. Let's be honest. This quarterback draft class stinks from Scituate to Cincinnati, man. Like it's not good. And that's not great for the Patriots, whether they had the 1st overall pick or the 4th, because nobody really wants to so desperately to trade up and grab somebody. To live with the hope and the whim and prayer that the Saints, who might now be without Derek Carr for the year, decide that they absolutely either need Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart, and they'd be willing to trade up with the Pats from 9 to 4 to gussy up their draft allotment, maybe give him a second round pick. It's kind of sad. I mean, that's just the reality of the talent lot here. I was with you in that if Travis Hunter was going to fall to 4, I would have jumped all over that. Just, I'm a Yahoo Auto Draft best player available guy on a team that so desperately needs talent, Max. But Cleveland is actually doing something smart for a change, which is funny, and just not passing on his generational potential two-way greatness. So now we're left wondering, Dayball, who so desperately wanted Drake May last year as his Josh Allen 2.0, which way does he go? Does he go with a potential Lawrence Taylor prototype in Abdul Carter, who dominated a college football playoff game with arm? I mean, guy's just nasty to say the least. Or, do they go with one of those quarterbacks? I don't want you to tell the Giants what to do, Max, but if you were Dayball and Shane, you would do what?
I probably would take Shadur only because Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston neither of them are long-term answers at quarterback, which is what they need right now. But I don't think they're going to do it. Like the fact they signed both those guys, if they signed one of those guys, then I'd say, okay, maybe they would take Shadur and have him develop as the backup. But I mean, Shadur would be the third string quarterback in New York if he's taken there. Now, it's still certainly possible they take Shadur Sanders, but signing both Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson, I don't think they're going to take Shadur Sanders right now. So it seems like they're almost looking at either Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, whoever the Browns probably don't take at number 2 overall. That might be what the Giants will do at number 3 overall, which then leaves the Patriots, without Abdul Carter on the board, without Travis Hunter on the board. Then maybe you look at a guy like Will Campbell or even Tedero McMillan is probably where I'd go if I'm New England. But that's probably the worst case scenario for New England is if both Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter go number 2 and number 3.
Okay, so the worst case scenario likely will play out because Murphy's Law is what New England was based on, not to mention shitty coffee and winding roads. So let's just imagine that Hunter goes 2 as he should, and the Giants come to their senses and take the dominant pass rusher, the defensive force that is Abdul Carter. At 4, let's say you're the New England Patriots. Nobody wants to trade up for that 4th overall pick, so you're going to play stick and pick. Are you going Will Campbell, Membu, Jalen Walker, McMillan, or somebody else?
I personally would go with Tedero McMillan, the wide receiver from Arizona. I love that kid, man. I think it probably is as high as he'll go in the NFL draft. I don't think he'll go that high either. I could see him slipping to like maybe in the 12 overall to the Cowboys. His range is going to be very fascinating on draft night, but he is the true X receiver that the Patriots are missing right now. He's a big body, obviously 6'5". He's unbelievable in contested catch situations. He makes plays after the catch as well. He's not as bad of a separator as some people question with him. I think, the comp for him that I think is perfect is Drake London. And I think you get a Drake London type of talent for the New England receiving core. I know they got Stephon Diggs in there already, but get a guy like Tedero McMillan in there too. All of a sudden, Drake May's got a lot of weapons to play with. So I'm personally one of the ones that is a little lower on this tackle class than most people. I actually have Kelvin Banks as my number 1 offensive lineman in the draft, not Will Campbell or Armand Membu. So if I was taking an offensive lineman number 4 overall, which I wouldn't, if I had to, I would take Kelvin Banks Jr. But I think Tedero McMillan, worst case scenario, if Hunter and Abdul Carter are off the board, Tedero McMillan will be probably my consolation prize number 4.
Okay, I absolutely love that. I have not heard anyone on our airwaves or our podcast say that as well. You're more hype, I think, on Tet McMillan, or the Tet offensive, as I would like to call him as well. It's a deep dive for you war fans out there. Look it up later on, or I'll get canceled for saying it. Either or. It's funny because he's a very polarizing figure in this draft, Max, because some people think he could turn into Drake London with a splash of Megatron, and some people believe, and some of those people that believe this are in New England. I got burned on N'Keal Harry before. I can't see the Patriots crap the bed on another first-round wide receiver that people say is slow and wins a lot of 50-50 balls. Like, that's great that he's got catch radius, but does he have clutch radius? That's the big question mark.
Yeah, and I would say that at his pro day recently, I believe he ran like a 4.48, which for a 6'5" receiver is blazing fast, honestly. Mm-hmm. So I think the speed concerns and the separation concerns are a little overrated, honestly. Actually, we have numbers at PFF that measure how often you get open on your targets. Ted McMillan's separation rate was on par with pretty much every other top receiver in this draft, even though he's a bigger receiver, right? So I think people kind of see the body type and the archetype of Ted McMillan and say, oh, well, this guy's just a big big 6'5" receiver. He can't get open, but he makes great grabs. That doesn't really work that often in the NFL. He gets open more often than you think, honestly, at that size. He's very good movement ability at that size. Like I said before, he became really good after the catch this past season. He actually had the second most broken tackles after the catch in the country, only behind Luther Burden, who's known for that. So I love Tetairoa McMillan. I think all the talk around him has gotten a little much recently. And I think he's still very much worthy of a top 5, top 10 pick in this year's draft.
Okay, great. So it's great to hear. My dream for the Patriots that doesn't involve a time machine and not letting Tom Brady go, or not drafting N'Keal Harry and taking AJ Brown instead, or not winning that last damn game against Buffalo, would be for the Patriots to either stick and pick at 4 and then just choose chaos and add a second round pick, because they have 2 third-rounders this year from the Judon trade. Take your top third and your second, package them together, move into the back end of the first round, and try to leave with some combination therein of the receiver and tackle of your choice, or the running back and tackle of your choice, because running back along with safety is a second tier sneaky need for the Patriots. Ramondre's good, but he puts the ball on the carpet too much. Gibson is a nice compliment as well, but they don't have a home run hitter, and they have sorely lacked the Shane Vereen, James White type that was a major and integral component of the McDaniels offense for a long time. So that's kind of what I would love to see the Patriots do, is see if they could emerge with 2 selections and start stocking the pantry with blue chippers. So let's say maybe they pick a tackle. I also like Kelvin Banks too. If they traded back a few spots, got Banks, and then had more capital, that would be chef's kiss. Let's look first round, second round, third round, fourth round. Let's go other tackles, other receivers, and potentially maybe a couple of third down type backs or potential home run hitters you like that could be available to the Patriots.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't hate that strategy at all. And if you're going that strategy of taking of trying to get 2 first-round picks, I would say go with tackle at 4, because the tackle class kind of dries up quickly. I don't think Banks, Membu, or Campbell are going to be available late in the first round, like you're saying. So you take a tackle at 4, whoever it is, probably Will Campbell at this point. And then late in the first round, I mean, Luther Burden III and Emeka Egbuka are falling right now for whatever reason. So those 2 guys should be available late in the first round. You can get one of those 2 guys to pair alongside Will Campbell. If you come out of the draft with Will Campbell and Luther Burden III, like that is a home run draft, in my opinion, for New England. So that would be phenomenal. As for the tackles on day 2 of the draft, I like, say, like an Ozzie Trapilo. That could be a guy that could fit that scheme as a man gap scheme from Boston College too. So it'd be a low moving cost from him going to the Patriots. So he's a good player. Ariante Ursary, another good player, I think could be available in the second round of the draft too, if you want to go that route. If you want to go late in the third round, maybe like a guy like Anthony Belton could fit that scheme really well too from NC State, because the Patriots run a lot of like downhill run schemes. Holland Pierce is a guy in day 3 that could fit the scheme really well, and I think he's a big time sleeper, the offensive tackle from Rutgers in this year's draft. I think he's a really good scheme fit for New England. If you want to get like a 4th or 5th round pick, I think that'd be a really, really fun selection for New England. So those are kind of the tackles I like. And then as for the receiver class, Jaden Higgins, I'm a big fan of. He should be available in the second round as well. Some other guys too. Alec Ayematter is a good player, should be available in the second round. So yeah, I think there are certainly options on day 2 of the draft, but you're certainly not getting, the star potential of the guys at the top of this draft.
Yeah. There are. It seems like this wide receiver class and the running back class, save for Ashton Genty, and you have him top 3.
Yeah, I have him. So I did my board basically. How good are you at what you do? And I say Ashton Genty, besides Travis Hunter, is the best player in this draft at his position, right? So I say Travis Hunter is the best football player in this draft, but after that, I say Ashton Genty's number 2.
Okay. Wow. I would love. See, that's the pick I would love the most if the Patriots made it. It would be so hard to validate it, given the tackle needs, receiver needs, and umpteen other needs, when you have 2 perfectly good running backs, I guess, that would probably get the job done if the offensive line wasn't last in pass pro and last in rush blocking last year. But they were, so that's why so much time, emphasis, and money needs to be thrown at this right now, Max. But I think Genty is spectacular. I know everybody's grades on him are Saquon-esque, and he's likely not going to miss. But if you get into that second level of running backs as well, it's Genty, Omarion Hampton, and then there's a little bit of a gap, and some people think it could be Quinshon Judkins who goes next. I'm a big Travion Henderson fan as well. We got people in our chat right now asking about Cam Scattaboo. What do you think about him?
I like him. I actually have him third. It is a distant
Oh,
third.
wow.
I think Hampton and like I mentioned, Ginty and Hampton are pretty clearly top two guys. I think both those guys are probably going to go in the first round of the draft.
Okay.
Then after that, there's probably not the next one to be taken until the second or late in the second round or something like that. So I like Cam Scattaboo a lot. Now I know the speed concerns are there. He's not a blazing runner like Trayvon Henderson is, for example. But he refuses to be tackled, man. Honestly, like he had the second most broken tackles in the country last year, only behind Ashton Ginty. So he is just an unbelievable. I almost call him like a psychopath. The way he runs the football it's so much fun to watch. He's an excellent receiving back too. I mean, he's actually. I think he had the second most receiving yards among all running backs last year. So really good receiving back, really good hands. Again, the speed concerns are valid, but I mean, there's not often that running backs are breaking off 40-plus yard runs unless your name is Saquon Barkley, right? So he is a guy that I think will churn out the tough yards for you and be an excellent receiving back as well. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Cam Scattaboo, and as of right now, he's my number 3 running back in the draft.
Yeah, plus throws a nice pass too, and showed up in the clutch against Texas in a game that mattered. Like I always say, like great players show up in games that matter. Like big games bring out big performances from big players. One of our commenters, Jeff Stenberg, give me DJ Giddens or Ollie Gordon much later in the draft. Maybe that'll be the way they go about it. Maybe they'll wait till 4, 5, 6 round to get a third down back, someone who's smaller, less of a smash and dash between the tackles guy. And lastly, I wanted to ask you about some of the second and third tier receivers as well. How do you feel about the Jalen Noels, Jack Besh out of TCU, who I think is excellent and catches everything? You know, there's a lot to be said about that. Isn't going to keep defensive coordinator, safeties, and corners up at night with elite field stretching speed, but makes plays when it matters most. And the Patriots have always had somebody who gets open quick and doesn't drop a ball. Also, Kyle Williams, I believe, out of Washington State has been a name that's been on the move. Do you have any other guys in that sort of like mid-second tierish receiver package who would be a gem for the Pats to find day 2 or 3?
Yeah, I think Besh and Noel are interesting because they're both kind of slot receivers or different slot receivers. Like Noel's a guy who's a speedy slot receiver who's going to win downfield for you. Besh is more of a power slot receiver, kind of in the mold. I'm not going to say as good as this guy, but kind of the mold like a Puka Nacua, for example, where he's a power slot. So different slot receivers, but I think both of them are slot guys. For the Patriots, though, I think you need like dominant outside receiver guys that you need. So guys, even like Jalen Noel's teammate, for example, Jaden Higgins, he's an X receiver. I would think him in the second round. If you don't take a receiver in the first round, that'd be a great second round pick if New England can get back up and take him or something like that. Alec Ayematter kind of fits that mold too. Maybe he might be available in the third round as well. So there are guys, Torrey Horton, maybe on day 3 of the draft. I'm a big fan of Andrew Armstrong from Arkansas, who should be available late in the draft. Like he might really fall on draft night. He's right now our 7th round pick projected right now. I'm a big fan of him. So yeah, there should be some guys available, but if you're looking for like the best true X receiver in the draft, it's obviously Ted McMillan. But after that, you can get a guy like maybe Jaden Higgins or maybe someone else like that to fill that void.
Great. And isn't there a receiver named Tesla, by the way?
Yeah, Isaac Tesla. Yeah.
Is he any good? I haven't watched. Pretty solid. Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen any tape on him as well, but he's somebody who's perpetually popped up in my feed with aggregators and other college football wonks saying like this guy could be the steal. Everyone wants to be the guy who finds or discovers the steal, so they can retweet it and say I was all over it. But rather than do that, we like going straight to the source with yourself and getting the intel. My last question, Max, would just be give me your wildest potential. It could be day 1, day 2, or day 3. It could be a trade up for somebody, or it could be this team comes from out of nowhere and takes this pick. Do you have a just crazy wild draft scenario that we could revisit later on?
Yeah, I think the Giants might be open for business at number 3. So I think there's a chance that if Travis Hunter is gone and Cam Ward is gone, Abdul Carter, as good as he is, for the Giants, though, they have Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau. Now, it's certainly possible to take Abdul Carter anyways and try to trade away Kayvon Thibodeau because he's been pretty disappointing through his first few years of the NFL. But still, he was a top 5 pick only a couple years ago, right? So that they're a team that I think if they're both gone and they don't want to take Shedeur Sanders, which I don't think they will, and Abdul Carter is there, who's not really a need for the Giants. One of the few positions they actually don't need in the NFL draft right now. They might be open for business for a team that's looking to trade up for Abdul Carter, say like the Panthers, for example. Maybe the Bears try to get up for Abdul Carter. Maybe the 49ers try to trade up to get Abdul Carter. Whoever's needing an edge rusher in this draft, and because there is a big gap between Abdul Carter and everyone else at the edge position, maybe they would be open up to trading a pretty decent size haul to the Giants, who are just looking to add as many premium picks as possible to boost that roster. I think the Giants, if Hunter and Cam Ward are off the board, I think they are very much open for business at number 3 overall.
Wow. Yeah, see, if that happens and the Patriots don't want to make that kind of move, they get to 4, their 2 guys are gone. Let's say Carolina calls up and says, hey, we can't afford to miss out on Mason Graham because you stole Milton Williams from us in free agency. So here's a free second-round pick to go from 4 to 8. Next thing you know, either Will Campbell or Kelvin Banks is available at 8.
Right.
Grab them right there. You package your second and a third, move back to the end of the first round, get Matthew Golden or Luther Burden, and next thing you know, draft success.
Cooking. I want the Patriots to trade down from number 4 overall, honestly, because like you said, like I don't think the gap between the tackles in this class is that big. So you could trade back to number 8 or wherever, and probably somewhere in the top 12 or so, and still get one of those top tackles, or you can still get Ted McMillan in that range too. Who those are the guys you're looking at number 4 anyways. So I think if you can get the guy you're looking at number 4 later on in the first round, at number 8 or so. That'd be a dream scenario for New England. So I think New England should be one of the teams looking to trade back from the draft right now.
Oh, now you got me excited, Max. This is the first time I've gotten my draft tingles up in a couple of days, maybe even a few weeks, because I'm just exhausted and tired of the very talent-wise draft class. But if someone calls up and says, move back a few spots, you grab Ted McMillan at 8, and then you could get Simmons or a Connerly or maybe even Kelvin Banks if he falls a little bit. Woo! Now we are cooking. Oh, man, I am so glad you were available and said yes to the dress when I asked you if you could jump on the pod, Max. Give him a follow, you guys, at Max Chadwick CFB. If you know the college game and the college talent better than this guy, he is part of the Pro Football Focus Network. It's been a pleasure having you on once again, Max. Have a great draft. It's coming. It's here. It's almost here, buddy. I know. And you can relax and then crack a can of Skylight afterwards. And just
Thanks, Fitzy. Appreciate you, man.
I owe you a better beer than that. All right, this has been the latest 6 Rings of Football. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Subscribe on Apple Pod, Spotify, or the Odyssey app. We'll be back tomorrow with Megan Ottolini to break down Mike Vrabel's pre-draft press conference. For Max, me, everyone at WEI Odyssey and 2400 Sports, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Be well. Have a great day. God bless. And as always, go Pats.